Hey everybody, this is Jinjara Mitchell, and welcome to this week's episode of the New Players Podcast, My Booking Story. I am so excited to introduce you to this week's guest. Her name is Keana Marie. She is a dear friend of mine, an incredibly talented actress, writer, and director. You might recognize Keana from her latest movie, Guns Up, or from the Netflix show Dash and Lily. We're going to talk to Keana today about her booking story behind Guns Up, the ways she stays motivated in this incredibly topsy-turvy industry, and we're going to talk to her a little bit about how she got started in the business and some great advice she has to any newcomers. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Hello, hi Kiana.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me.
Of course, thank you for coming on board. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. The sun is shining. We're feeling good. It's a new year. How are
Yes, oh my
you?
gosh. All the New Year energy.
Yeah, it's the best. I love it. I love starting off the new year with this new push towards, all of your dreams, goals, everything.
100%. I couldn't agree more. So again, welcome to the New Players Podcast, My Booking Story. And let's just dive right in. Do you have a booking story to share with us today?
Honestly, there wasn't like one thing that came to mind that I'm like, oh my God, this is the craziest story, I have to say. That's the thing about being an actor in the city, like when you've been in it for like as long as I have. There's no one way to book a project. I feel like, at least in my experience, it's always very different. Like sometimes you're like, oh yeah, I got this in the bag, and you feel great about it, and you're like, it's happening, and then it does happen, and you're like, okay, great. And then sometimes it's the complete opposite where you're like, not like a throwaway audition, but essentially you're just like not as invested, or not invested is the word, but like desperate, or kind of this like necessity to book this job, and you just kind of like do the work, you're prepared, and then you let it go, and you're like, okay, you don't think about it anymore, and then you book it, and you're like, oh, that job. Like for example, I had a movie come out in December called Guns Up, and that booking story, it's nothing crazy, but I did have like, now most auditions are for the most part like all self-tape or virtual, like we're doing right now. And
Yeah.
um and I remember like the audition for Guns Up. It was funny because it was being cast by Thomas Sullivan, who, when I first moved to LA when I was 18, I used to like be a reader. Like I on a handful of times I was like a reader for his casting sessions, which was like a fun full circle moment. So when I got this audition, like it had been like 10 years that I had like known this casting director, but I hadn't seen him in a while. And it was like such a funny synchronicity, like, oh hey. And then so I did the audition, and like nothing, had heard nothing. And a month goes by, which like sometimes you can hear the day of. Like sometimes it's like the next day, like boom boom boom, it moves fast. And then there's other times where it's a whole month or a few months where you're like, whoa, I completely forgot this project existed. And like, so I think that's kind of cool that sometimes you never know, like it can come back around, something that you thought was like gone. And yeah, it took like a month to hear back, and then we had a director session, and they told me like that Christina Ricci was going to be playing my mom, and so they're like, so we think you like would be great. And I remember when they first told me, because I had no idea. I knew like Kevin James was attached to the project, but there was no like talk, or like I had no idea who was playing my mom. And I think there was like a few different actresses in the works for that. But when they came up with the whole like Christina Ricci playing her, and they told me that in the director session, I had like this like reaction in the like in the where I was like, "Oh my God, like people tell me I look like her sometimes." And I
Yeah.
remember like I said that, and like right away I was like, "Oh my God, Kiana, shut up. Like why did you just say that?" And I was like, I didn't want to come off like excited or like any kind of way where I was like, oh my God, I didn't want to like give an extra, but it was just like a natural, oh my God, Christina, like anyway.
Yeah.
So I was kind of scared at first. I left that like director session being like, oh my God, did I say too much? Like what.
Mhm.
And
Something in your head.
yeah, of course you're like, wait, why did I have that reaction? But it's like, you know what, we're human. Like,
Yeah.
of course, like that's cool. So I I actually, yeah, I booked it. I found out, so after the like 1 month of like doing the original audition and then doing the director session, like I would say it was then from that point it went pretty quick. Like it was within a week that I was like contract signed, and then
Oh my gosh.
I would say like a week or f few days after that, like boom, head out to New Jersey. So that was fun. So that's
Oh, I
that.
didn't know you filmed in New Jersey. That's so cool.
I've been so lucky to like shoot on the East Coast. Like I did a whole show in New York City, which is like its own magic. Um,
Yeah.
and that was like a fun little booking story because again, like that one was very not throwaway, but like, okay, I have to do this audition, like da da da. And I remember they gave me absolutely nothing. Like no details of who's involved in the project, no like the producers, nothing. So it was kind of like going in blind, which in a way I think maybe helped. But I just really connected with the character, and I'm talking about Dash and Lily right now. And basically, like I remember doing the audition, sending it, and then like within a few days I heard like back, and at that point what was really cool is I already booked the lead of like this indie film called Root Letter, so I was heading to Louisiana to shoot this, and then the Dash and Lily people came out and were like, hey, we'd love to have you play Sophia. And at that point it was like a scheduling conflict because I was already
Mhm.
doing this lead of this movie, and so I remember like in a way I think it kind of helped me book, like I see it all the time where it's like, oh, you're not available. Oh, we want you. Like,
Yes, it's so fun. It's like you book a trip and then you get a
oh
job.
wait,
It's like
no, it really is that way. So I think it helped like the fact that they're like, oh, she can't come to the table read because she's shooting a movie. Okay, cool. Like, so
yeah.
it worked out. It worked out, and then I went to New York for 3 months, and it's been like really fun, and just excited to get back and have more booking stories to share.
Those are really fun stories. Yeah, like you said, I feel like there's no like it's never going to be the exact same story twice.
Right.
It's always so different. And what's interesting to me is when you mentioned for Guns Up that there was a month in between,
Yeah.
like that's such a like at that point you kind of let it go, I assume,
Right,
right?
exactly.
You're
Well,
like,
no, yeah, no, it's crazy. I think like that's another thing, like not so much booking story, but just in the sense of being an actor in this city for like over a decade.
yeah,
There are so many like, close calls that I think most people like that are listening to your podcast are probably aware of or should know or whatever. It's just such a like crazy industry where like you will sometimes sign a contract and or like have a testing deal and like your life is about to change or you're about to move to this part of the world or whatever it may be, and like boom, then it doesn't happen and you're like, "Oh my God, it's so crazy." Like I remember like I feel like the unbooking stories, like the close booking stories are sometimes like the crazier ones.
yeah, it's
Um
true.
like I remember being on hold, so like basically pinned for 9 months for this like project. And I remember going back, it was back in the day where like you would go in person to auditions. And I remember I went in to it was for Carmen Cuba. I went in like 9 times in person over this 9 month period. I auditioned for like five or like at least three or four characters for this project, and they just kept like, okay, that was great, but like maybe come back next week and try this character. Okay, no, what about the for like 9 months, and then in the end I was like, they ended up booking a girl with my name. And I was like,
What? Like Kiana?
yeah, which is like a kind of rare name, so it was
You're
so
like, did
funny.
they make a mistake? Did they?
Yeah, I was like, hold on, I was 9 months, like
Yeah. You're like, you contacted the wrong Kiana.
honestly, that's so funny. But honestly, everything happens for a reason. I very much like look at everything like that, and like everything you don't book is because of something else you're going to book. Or you know what I mean? Like there's just like I let the universe take care of it and like don't think too hard or get too upset. I try not to when like things don't go, the way that I want it to. Like I think it's more about just letting it flow, and you learn so much. Like I feel like I've gotten so strong and resilient because of like the unbooking stories almost, or like the close calls.
Totally. I mean, on that note, how do you deal with a project like stringing you along for 9 months, or this one's about to go your way and it doesn't. So how do you stay motivated and inspired when that happens? Like, is there anything you do?
My approach has kind of shifted as of late. I used to, for the most part, and again, there are some that I go in and it's like, ah, like whatever. But sometimes you'll get a script, you'll get an audition, and you're like, oh my God, like this is amazing. This is the kind of work I want to be doing. I feel so connected to the character. Like you start to like visualize it and seeing it and manifesting and all that. And like that's kind of the way that I was operating for such a long time. And like even though I'm very woo-woo and spiritual and like I do believe that like energy and all of that is real and like there is truth to manifestation, there is also like sometimes a harder fallout when it doesn't go your way because you like were so like it's almost like a desperate manifesting energy like around the project, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Versus like I just had a call back right before Christmas or whatever, and it was in person and I remember being like, like I haven't had an in-person callback in like a year, so it was,
that's amazing.
I was like, okay, cool, very different. And that's like almost a relic at this time. Like it's almost like ancient thing, but basically
Totally.
instead of like going in with this like, okay, I need this, I kind of went, or like I want or whatever, I kind of like did the work, showed up prepared, and like didn't really care about the outcome. Like rather like if I got it, if I didn't get it, I was like, I'm still just gonna have fun, do great work, and like if I get it, cool. If I don't get it, cool. And like I think that was very like new for me. And
Yeah,
because of that approach, like I was more free in the room. I think obviously there's still like nerves, like in-person callback, but like I think in the end, like it just makes it easier to move on when it doesn't happen. And it's like instantly it's like, okay, you leave that room, boom, like start putting your energy towards another project or the next audition or whatever, versus like there were other times where I'd been like on hold for a project or really close and I'm like waiting, like
yeah,
praying it's going to ring.
yeah.
And it's like, no, 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 like it's like manifesting it, this call is happening versus like, okay, cool, like again, trust the universe, just do your work, come prepared, and like just let it go after that. And so I finally think I'm doing that, which has been, I think, a great, like a better approach or a combination of both, like manifesting and letting it go and just like not really caring about the outcome so much.
Totally. I mean, you and I are both, spiritual woo woo, and I totally hear you. It's this weird like fine line of knowing what you want and like letting it go at the same time. I feel like all of us have been there where you're like refreshing your emails.
Oh
Like at
yeah.
least I do that. I'm just like, like where's
No,
the
perfect example. I had a text from my manager today and he's like, "Hey, like just making sure you saw this audition." And it's like, "Oh, clearly I'm not like, or at least yesterday I wasn't like, hey, I'm just kind of
Yeah,
living my life and like things come, I do the work and then we move on and like I don't know." So it's
totally. I don't know. It takes a lot of mindfulness and patience to get to that point though where you are able to let it go. Again, a more spiritual take on it is that if you're chasing something too hard, it kind of runs away.
No, that's so, I mean, that's how it feels to me, at least.
Yeah.
Really, like, I feel like when I'm like, like, it doesn't happen. At the end of the day, too, like, this industry is a lot about time and place and luck and, like, things that are completely out of our control. And so I think I used to try to finesse control into situations that I had absolutely no control of. That's the thing. It's like, okay, all I can control is the work I'm doing on the audition and, like, how I present myself and all these things, and then boom, I have to let it go because yes, you can manifest and try the law of attraction, but at the end of the day, I have very little control. So I tried to focus my energy on things I do have control of, like of course doing the work for the auditions, but then like pivoting and like putting my work towards my own projects and my own writing and directing and like acting in projects that I'm creating. So I think that's a good way to like maintain control in this industry when like we have such little control and like just of outcome. So yeah, I think building your own when you can and like recognizing when you just don't have control, I think has been very freeing and powerful.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. It's so interesting how that works.
Yeah.
And then do you remember your first audition?
Oh my God. That's a good question. Um, my first audition, let me go back into my mind. Okay, so I got an agent in seventh grade, so I was 12. So
Oh,
it's been a minute. So I
yeah.
was in Miami when I got an agent. So it was definitely like a Miami thing. Could have easily been for like a commercial. I remember my first job was like actually like a modeling thing for like a print job for like Fanta when I was like 11 or
For
something.
Fanta? Oh,
Like for like a print thing, yeah. And then I did like a Honda commercial around that same time, like seventh grade. And then I started doing like auditions for because it was in Miami, like there wasn't much like film and television. But so I started doing self-tapes, sending them to LA in middle school. But it was at the time very like, I was in that age range of like a lot of Nickelodeon Disney Channel auditions. So I remember doing a self-tape for this show called Super Ninjas, and it was like a Nickelodeon show. And my friend ended up being like the guy in it, but I remember like having to fly like when I was like 12 for like a producer session in LA from
wow.
like Nickelodeon thing. And it was like so fun. Like it's like hopped off the plane at LAX. Like I
No.
very like Miley Cyrus, like woo.
You must have felt so amazing. Oh my gosh.
It was such a fun time. I flew to LA as like a 12-year-old by myself, and my sister was living here, so I stayed with her, I believe. I just remember feeling the airplane was like a Virgin Airlines plane, so
Yeah.
all of the interior was like neon purple lighting, and I was just like, woo! It felt so cool and like fun, and yeah, I'll never forget like my first time coming to LA for producer sessions and like how intimidating but also cool, like I'm living my dream. So those are like my first memories of auditions. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun.
That is really fun. That's so cool. Sounds like the dream come true for anybody
Yeah.
who's 12, like to go to fly to LA alone and like a cool plane. And yeah, he must have felt like such a movie star. That's
It
so
was so
exciting.
fun. Yeah,
That's
it was so
amazing.
funny. When I moved to LA at 18 though, I was like, okay, respect, but like I know because I had like done this for so long, I was like, I know that I have no interest in like doing these kind of projects because I was very like indie girl, so I didn't want to do like Nickelodeon or Disney as an adult. So I was kind of like it was such a fun time, like in middle school. Like I never ended up doing any Nickelodeon or Disney, but even like yeah, flying out to LA and doing this like producer session on the lot, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm on a like 12-year-old like on a lot. It was
That,
fun. It was a good time,
that's
definitely.
so
Compared to like Miami, which is like a tiny, tiny little market. It was like, oh my God, I'm this small fish in this big pond.
totally. And with your age.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I meant to ask this earlier when we were talking about Guns Up, but how was it working with Christina Ricci and Kevin James? What was that experience like?
Oh, they're amazing. No, I mean they're so professional and great. Like Christina is so sweet and so
You do
good.
look alike. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
see
no,
it.
she's great. She's like I'm taller than her, which is rare. Like I'm quite small myself. But no, she's great and Kevin is so funny and I remember being so surprised because I've only ever really seen Kevin James do like wonderful, hilarious comedy.
Yeah.
And there were some moments like there's a scene where like it's an emotional like father-daughter like scene where we're crying. Like I'm not gonna give spoilers, but point being is like here I am like sharing tears with Kevin James, and I was like, this was not on my bingo card, but I'm here for it. Like I, so
Yeah.
he's just and like so professional. The whole team, the whole crew, like everyone was great. Leo, like the guy who plays my little brother, he was so cute, and like I was so blessed because most of my scenes had a minor in them, which
Yeah.
means my hours were chilling compared to
Oh,
like people who had like overnight, like 14-hour days. I had like an 8 hour. I had to be home after 8 hours. Like it was
that's amazing. Honestly, that's so rare.
yeah, I know. I'm like
Yeah.
work with children. That is the hot tip. Work with underage children in your
Yeah.
seat and you'll get your rest. No, yeah, no, it was such a fun time and like it was my first time doing an action film. So to like blow stuff up and have we had like a body count. I think we had like one of the highest body counts in like film and television. Like we were like at 100 something like dead bodies in our
Oh,
body. Yeah, yeah, it was like crazy amount of dead bodies.
I
So
guess called Guns Up. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Like never done anything like that before. So
that
yeah.
sounds like such a good experience. So that's so exciting. And then we're just gonna get to the end of the interview here now. So do you have
Okay.
any advice or tips or like kind of takeaways that you would give to a listener who maybe is just starting out in the industry? Or is there anything that's gotten you through in a hard day type of thing?
I'm so glad and grateful that I was supported in my dreams of wanting to act and create and be creative and make films and all of these things. So I hope that you find support in doing what you want to do, because you can accomplish anything. Like at the end of the day, you do have control over that. You can control your life, your success, like your ambition, everything. I just think like keep working hard, keep being present, keep like living your life, connecting all of that, and don't be scared. And I think just like, keep trucking along because it is very much an industry where it's like you gotta stick with it. There are gonna be hard moments that you're gonna get knocked down, but grow from that and have it make you stronger and more resilient because like if you do love acting and filmmaking and cinema, it is such an abundant and it can be such a rewarding career. And just remember where you have control and where you don't. And like I'm always an advocate for telling your own stories and if you can like collaborate with your friends and make art, do that in regards to like advice for getting an agent to like really new actors. I always say my way of getting an agent was I was in like an acting class and then there's like two ways that are very common. You could go to an acting class and like they have either your teacher will know an agent or like kind of word of mouth or a showcase or in my experience short films and like even student films like thesis films all of that they do a showcase that managers agents like people see that like if it does well even if it's a short film like people will see it, people will see you, and that's how I got the team I'm with is essentially like through doing short films at like the beginning of my career. So yeah, that's my advice. And keep your head up. And yeah, the world is a better place with art. So let's keep making it.
I agree. The world is a better place with art. No, that's all so great. Thank you so much, Kiana. We're so glad that you joined us today,
Oh
and
my pleasure.
I will chat with you soon.
All right, love you. Thanks for having
Love
me.
you too. Thanks for coming on.